Tonight on Video Game Tango, we discuss the newest of worlds, how we might train our freemium dragons, a player that no one knows, and robot dinosaurs. We also argue over the Mortal Kombat movie's fatalistic attempt at being a real film, and we do it all while looting our countrysides.
Greetings, I'm Nick, and unfortunately, I know what a carbuncle is.
I'm Josh, and I look good on every PlayStation generation.
My name's Russ, and Jesus wants video games for his birthday.
My name is Andy. Welcome to Video Game Tango.
So we were talking about the noise floor the other day, a bar that has yet to exist. And it may or may not involve a moon.
Get your hand out of my frame.
Maintain frame.
Josh, define how the noise floor has a lack of moon. The lore needs to be developed. This is really important.
It looks like it's a moon, but later in the story, we're going to find out it's not a moon.
Also, not a space station. It wouldn't be that easy.
So is it like from far away it looks like a moon, but you get up close and you realize it's not a moon?
Yes.
So the whole ceiling is like a moonscape, but it's actually a bunch of Polaroids of people's butts.
And the noise floor is on the
figured it out.
ceiling.
No, the noise.
Whoa.
I mean,
Mind
Let's
blown.
not get weird.
Well, that's what we're saying. Apparently, the noise floor is just a fucking shitty Skybox.
Just bump into it.
It's just a bunch of alpha textures.
Can't go that way.
Yeah. Dude, how fun would that be to put like fucking clear acrylic glass walls in like a dance studio, like a bar, like a bunch of drunk people walking around, they just sort of run into a non-existent wall. I'd pay money. I want to see it. Which moon of Saturn? There's a lot of moons of Saturn.
There's like 40 of them.
Yeah.
So to start the podcast out, I kind of wanted to talk about what's happened. So I realized after we released last week's podcast that like literally everything's has changed about the podcast, except for its content for the most part. So we were the Balcony Time podcast, just a group of guys, witty banter, and we called it a day. Now we're that, but we kind of changed the theme to be a little bit more video game focused. So we plan on bringing in some video game essentially we were already doing that, right? We brought up topics that we wanted to, but it was often a video game focused. So basically what we were kind of turning into was a live show mixed with the on-demand audio podcast on every podcast platform that you can download on. We also wanted to have like a bigger YouTube presence, and we also wanted to reach out to kind of as many people as possible. And we were thinking that a little bit more focus on gaming would be just kind of a good idea. Keep the conversation flowing and have it so we could bring topics to the table that we, had a little bit more knowledge in and stuff that we were actually just interested in. So we changed the formula a little bit. We're Video Game Tango now. We are no longer the Balcony Time podcast. Before, we were the Balcony Time podcast brought to you by Video Game Tango. We had all these kind of aspirations to stream and do things on Twitch. That never really came to fruition, so we kind of wanted to just like deliver you content in as many forms as possible with more regularity. And we figured having a video game focus kind of leads to being able to do that. So when we want to stream, we can stream. We don't have a dedicated schedule for that, just kind of whenever it happens. It also means that we can do more short form content, things like, short YouTube videos, stuff that fits within 15 minutes, along with bringing you the podcast each week. So we just changed things up a bit. We're still going to be delivering a weekly podcast, but we also hope to do more content on top of that. Just so we can kind of, be with you guys more often and give you more of us, if you are into that kind of thing.
I want to give you all as much of me as you're willing to have.
Yeah. Josh wants to flood you.
It's some pre-planned unknown date. We're just going to stab Josh live on stream.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to Caesar me.
Yep.
As long as it's off camera, you'll hear
I'm going
it.
to tattoo Cartago Delende Est on your forehead.
There's a reason that he gets cut off where he gets cut off. It's because we're going to cut him off below.
So you can't see for the Night's Watch that we're going to...
Yeah, exactly.
And who are you? Paulson said.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to talk about that, and obviously we had a lot of time to kind of change things. COVID happened, and I think we all thought that, especially after we talked about it on the podcast, that it would just be a good idea for us to not do anything in person until there was a vaccine and more.
We were all vaccinated.
Yeah, and just more clear safety protocols, because we record in a living room.
We used to cough in each other's drinks. It was just habit.
And each other's butts, and we all know how that works. So
This is how close we are.
right. So we figured we would do this. We had aspirations of doing like a remote podcast and stuff like that, but it just never happened. So we work best when we hang out. That's why we were the Balcony Time podcast. It's because we've been friends forever, and we've been doing this forever. We're just doing it live.
And Chat has some good ideas too. And if there's one thing that we need, it's feedback. Because when you're just casting into the void and there's no response, you assume you're doing the right thing, but you're not sure. So I would love any feedback. If you just want to completely lambaste us, hatchet job, do it.
It's really
It'll give
easy
us
to.
something.
We have a presence on Facebook. We're Video Game Tango on Facebook and Twitter. Or you go to videogametango.com. There's a little icon in the bottom right hand of the page that says contact us. You can email us, or you can even leave live voicemails. So feel free to do that. We want any and all feedback for the podcast, for content that you might be interested in the future. Like we plan on doing gameplays. We have our YouTube channel up. Unfortunately, you can look up Video Game Tango on YouTube. I don't have like a shorter URL for you. We need more subscribers for that.
And that quickly leads into the fact that we're small. If you want to give us feedback, you're going to get attention.
Yes.
And if you want to have a dialogue with us, you will get it.
100%.
Yes. We're not any Markipliers or Division Pete's or any of those other mathematical big YouTube personalities.
Yeah.
You have to subscribe to Patreon to talk to me.
Russ is a whole different thing.
I'm the premium level.
At some
$5 a
point,
month.
at some point, we might do some premium content, but for now, we figured we'd give it all. I'm currently editing the first podcast down to do the pre-podcast, mid-roll, and the after show. Because we like people that are joining us live on twitch.tv/videogametango right now. They get to see all of the before and after. We've been recording for about an hour and a half now before we started the podcast. So you can always join us live Wednesdays around 8-ish Pacific time.
If everything goes to plan,
jump in the chat.
Get in here.
Yeah.
Tagline.
Get over here.
Get over here.
Hey, you. Get in here.
Yeah. Would you mind coming over? That needs to be like the PC Scorpion.
Dude, okay, so speaking of Scorpion, I watched the Mortal Kombat movie. Josh, I think you've watched it too?
I have, yes.
What a hot piece of shit.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I mean, yeah, but it was entertaining. I had fun. I feel like it knew what it was, and it leaned into that.
No, I don't think it was self-aware at all. I think they really went in here trying to make an excellent movie. And
did someone say fatality?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's a little self-aware.
Yeah,
gotta give him that.
There was like a Liu Kang wins. He announced it himself. Like,
and how is that not self-aware?
It's very Liu Kang.
Yes, there's definitely a little bit of self-awareness, but I actually think that they were striving to make. Well, it sets itself up for sequels.
Yeah,
but why not?
And
how many Mortal Kombat games are there, homie?
11.
Well, we're probably not going to get that many movies, but they want to fucking milk it for 3. Come on,
dude,
now.
I want to see Mortal Kombat 11 the movie just to see how far down the rabbit hole they've had to go.
It just wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't campy and fun. It was bad, and that's really sad because the first movie, for all the quibbles you can throw at it, was a fun movie, especially at our age.
I disagree wholeheartedly. It was bad, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Let's put it this way. If you had to compare it to other movies that you go into knowing, okay, I cannot take this seriously, even at like this level, where does it rank amongst the Transformers and the Ninja Mutant Turtles and the G.I. Joes? Like, is it better or worse than those other campy movies?
Okay, The G.I. Joe movie is one of the few movies that The Rock cannot save. And I feel like this was slightly better than that.
Okay, so B minus.
It's C+.5.
Okay,
That's pretty bad.
I would.
Okay, B minus then.
Josh
I
gives
guess.
it an
I've
R.
I don't know. I watch a lot of movies. As long as there's a start, a middle, and a finish, and it plays
Yeah.
all together, I will have it on in the background.
Your B minus is my D.
I mean, I don't disagree with that statement either, but
Okay, so here's the thing. It didn't keep me entertained at all.
What were you expecting from a Mortal Kombat reboot movie?
What I was hoping for, okay, was the quality of the first film. You know, a modernized version.
There was no quality in the first
I loved
film.
the first film.
Well,
and
whether you loved it or not, that doesn't mean it had quality.
It's like 8,
right?
10. Yeah, it was
bad.
kick ass,
Well,
but it's
let
awful.
me rephrase.
But it was a fun movie. Like even now, it's still kind of a fun. It's campy enough that you can still have fun with that movie.
but it's a bad fun movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying otherwise. It wasn't a fucking fantastic movie by any stretch, but I enjoyed it.
So obviously it's a campy movie, and even like when it first came out, everybody knew that it was kind of a campy, shitty movie. What are the parts that you said, despite it being a campy movie, this is what I enjoyed about it that made me laugh or enjoy it?
I wouldn't say there's a lot to laugh about. I think it's just kind of a cornball movie at this point. Like for it,
It's just cringe, or
no, I wouldn't call it cringe. I think for the time, it was fine. And today, it's just camp. I can't say that it's cringe. It's just camp.
Okay.
Right. Whereas this movie seemed, while it had its moments, I think more than self-awareness, it was supposed to be fan service.
yeah, okay.
And it didn't have the campy quality. I feel like they really tried on CGI and failed.
Okay.
It's also so if the movie had been kind of what it promised in the first few minutes of the movie, I think it could have been a good movie.
Okay.
Because the tone of the first 5 minutes of the movie versus the rest of the movie was totally different.
I watched a handful of reviews and like lookovers at it, so I haven't seen the movie, but I know the general plot line. Here's a good idea. The recent Power Rangers movie that came out, to me, that was a solid like B camp movie where there was just enough fan service. It was like, oh, there's the theme song, perfect timing,
sure.
haha. Okay, cool. Like the movie wasn't good, and I enjoyed it kind of. But like I put that right, like Josh is saying, C plus B minus area. Where like, okay, I knew what I was getting. It didn't even quite even meet those standards, but like I didn't pay any money to watch it, so it's not like I wasted my time. I could have been doing something better. Where do you feel the Mortal Kombat movie is? Like that level, above, below? Was it below that?
It was below. There was really very little I enjoyed about the movie. There were little things in particular that the hyper violence was fun. They had essentially like a Mortal Kombat 10 or 11 style fatality during the movie.
super gruesome.
So yeah, 100%. So that was fine. That was good.
Yeah.
Was there anything that stood out to you,
So
Josh?
let me give you one scene.
Okay.
Okay. So Jax in this movie, it shows him losing his arms. Okay, we all know that happens.
Jax
Laura
is
was.
the cyborg with the metal arms.
Yeah, he's the dude with the metal arms.
Yeah.
In the movie, they're searching for something called their like anima or something like that. I can't remember the term they use, but
MacGuffin.
it's their magical power, right? It's how Liu Kang can shoot a fireball. It's how Kano can shoot a laser out of his eye. It's how Sub-Zero can control ice and
Yes, the MacGuffin.
Yeah, the MacGuffin. Jax, in a moment of heroism, grows metal arms. That is his shtick. Is he grew metal arms?
Through his sheer will.
Yes. I'm
No.
not. Yes, he fucking
No.
did. You can't say otherwise.
No.
Josh
grew
is like,
metal
the noise
arms.
he made is this, not that.
No.
What happened?
He had shitty little bitch metal arms, and then he got his chi, and then those shitty little bitch arms became
Bigger
better.
metal arms.
Yes, but he
Okay, so
already
he
had
had arms.
He already had metal arms, homie. He didn't grow them; they
Yeah, he
became
did.
better. That's all. I mean,
literally, as his metal arms are starting
Kano
to
got
break
a metal
apart.
fucking laser eye, but you're drawing the line at fucking arms. He
No,
didn't grow the arms.
I'm giving
They got
one
better.
instance. Thank you for giving me another one.
Is there a chance that one of you guys watched a bootleg version of the movie?
I watched it on HBO Max.
I
So
think
did
there's
I.
a pretty big difference. If a guy standing there, fucking no arms, and grows metal arms.
Okay,
I-
I'm
yeah,
watching the scene right now.
Bigger, like that's a pretty
Watch
big difference.
watch
Okay.
the scene.
Hold up. Let's rewind this real quick. So we have this image of Jax. He's stressing. He's trying. It looks like he's really constipated, and he's got these little. He has got robot arms, but they're pulling a transformer.
Yeah.
All the bits are getting bigger. Now he's, oh man, I can do it, and he throws a boulder. So he's proving to the audience, show not tell, that he's strong now.
Yes.
because he threw a rock.
So that is the magic power bestowed unto him because he's special.
That's not bad.
It could have been
It
worse.
sounds like it fits the rest of the theme of the movie.
I
which
think
is
it would have
fine.
been better
Well,
had he just randomly grown robot arms
So-
like out of stubs. That would have been perfect.
That would have been terrible. Are you kidding? Where did the,
For
where,
a Mortal Kombat movie, like him just going and robot arms pop out, like it doesn't get any better than that. Like again, you got to lean fully into the camp. It's a Mortal Kombat movie. Be like, oh, I'm.
I don't think anyone's just growing fucking metal shit for
Hey,
no
there's
reason.
summoning ice
Homie
swords.
throws down his sombrero or his fucking big white ass hat and like jumps on a dude and fucking surfs him right into it, fucking Sawmill style.
Are you
It
talking
was
about the dude with the
fucking
saw
awesome.
hat?
It was awesome.
Okay.
That scene was cool.
There was
I'm not going to
plenty
argue
of
that.
cool shit in that movie. There was plenty of cool shit to string together an hour and a half
Also,
of a good time.
What about the choreography, man? Most of it was Power Rangers level choreography.
No
Okay.
choreographer worth his salt is going to work on Mortal Kombat. The movie
Some of the
too.
choreography.
The first Mortal Kombat movie had garbage choreography.
100%, 100%. But
I
it's
mean,
2021.
It's a low
This was
bar.
not great choreography, but it was like I don't know. I've seen worse.
For the budget of this movie, you can hire a choreographer.
I will watch this before next podcast.
yeah, definitely watch it. Yeah, definitely
And
watch
I will
it.
weigh in because I feel like you have Josh who readily accepts too many things. He does not judge them harshly enough. And then you have Andy.
forbid you have a
who
good time.
Has trouble watching any movie, so it's like two ends of the spectrum there.
Russ, you're gonna watch this movie and go to the hospital for like internal bleeding.
I mean,
You're
it's
gonna watch
possible.
this movie and give your opinion. Like you're gonna keen at some high pitch, and the glass is gonna shatter in the
The doctor's going to say, finish him.
I mean, that would be an enjoyable experience if that movie can work me up that much. That'll be a good one.
The thing is, I wasn't worked up until bringing it up with Josh, and he likes it. So
Like, am I gonna fucking watch it again?
I
But
just
like,
watched
if
it
you
and was
have an
bored.
hour and a half and you like Mortal Kombat, watch it.
I love Mortal Kombat, man.
Not enough. That's
Clearly.
been properly on display here. You do not love Mortal Kombat enough.
I think the important thing is they're coming out with a Twisted
Josh
Metal
does.
TV show. I'll bring it up again.
I still think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it can be
also
good.
I think
that's
it's a
an
much
excellent
better
idea.
idea than another video game because that would have fucking flopped so hard, right? Nobody wants to play Dad's weird racing game with a clown.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're in the podcast now, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
you
cool.
can talk about important things.
Well, my list is on here now. That
Ooh.
brings up the Wheel of Time series is already recasting one of their primary characters.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a character named Matt Cthulhu, and for season 2 they're replacing him. And I'm like, that is
So that
never good.
well, it like with a show with this much funding, that also never happens unless it's for like some sort of crazy health reason or a family emergency or something.
I'm not
Or he's getting
saying
canceled.
there's anything wrong with him with that. There's a myriad of reasons that are perfectly acceptable for someone to step down. What I'm commenting on is that does not bode well for any series
for the future of the show.
when you have to replace lead characters. Like it just
So it looks like they've already recorded his parts for the first season, and he's not going to return for the second season.
Yeah.
So they're
He's already been recast.
ugh.
who did they recast in Game of Thrones? Because who they're recasting matters.
The Witcher actor. I don't know the accent mark. Donald Flynn.
No. I know who they're recasting for Matt Cthulhu and Wheel of Time. Cloistered Scholar in chat says that they recast 2 characters in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and he says they recast Dario in the Mountain.
Okay, so the Mountain, you pretty much almost never see. He's a very ancillary character. The Dario one was bad. That was a bad recast. Like, that really made things fucking weird for like an entire season. And if it wasn't for the momentum that show already had, that kind of stuff can really kill a show's potential.
One of the biggest recasts that threw me for a loop was what is her name? The wife of the female politician, Shora something or another. Her husband changed actors from one season to another. But like, because I wasn't up on like Twitter news that it had been recast, there was this new dude that was her husband, and I didn't know it was supposed to be her husband. So I spent like 5 episodes trying to figure out who the fuck this dude is.
What show are you talking about?
The Expanse. Sorry, did I not say that?
Yeah, I don't think so. I didn't catch it. They recast
Christian Avasarala, played by
they recast her.
Her husband got recast, and I thought he was like some weird political dude for the longest time. I think it's one of the bigger concerns you have is if you recast somebody, but you don't. I mean, you can't mention it in the
it doesn't
show,
make any sense
right?
in the
But like,
show,
how do you fix that? Because I literally didn't know who this guy was supposed to be until
That's why they killed him.
I mean, that's the easiest thing to do. Is
Maybe
like, if
that's
you
why.
can, you just eliminate him from the
You
show
write him out
instead
of
of
the story.
recasting him.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like Cloister also brings up, and it's the one I thought of first of was Spartacus. The Showtime show and stuff, because they main character got
Whitefield,
brain
Andrew
cancer or
Whitefield.
something, and they had to pull him out. And stuff.
Lymphoma, I believe.
And I don't think I came back to that show with the recast. I was just like, all right, I'm done. It was like 4 seasons with him in it, and then they're like, nope, the main character is somebody different. I'm like,
I think he actually only did the one.
It was just
one
the
season.
first
is it
season.
just well, maybe that was because I've seen more of that.
Because then the other dude did 3 seasons. It's the first season with the original guy, and then
Is that what's weird about
Yeah,
it?
because we all got really big
Yeah.
into the first season of Spartacus. It was like a pre-Game of Thrones kind of.
But I've watched more than just one season of Spartacus, so I guess it didn't affect me as much as I thought it did. Because I feel like I got far enough in that show to where they had almost all left the brouhaha.
Yeah.
I forget what they call
Andy
them. The ludus. The
Whitfield.
ludus, thank you.
That's Andy Whitfield was the guy, I think.
yes, that is him. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, correct.
Now, I mean, the person in The Expanse, that's a pretty like insignificant minor character to replace Avasarala's husband. Like
He wasn't important. It just threw me for a loop because
Yeah.
they had such a kind of dialogue of we've been married for 50 years, so everything's so casual.
So, like, who's this guy?
I thought he was like her butler at first, and it's like she's in a new place. She's got like a new spokesperson, but
I guess, I mean, at the end of the day, I bring it up mostly because it's like it's just an unfortunate thing that can happen. Because like it's nobody's fault really, unless this
gonna
guy's
do?
obviously a scumbag, in which case it's his fault that he's getting recast because he's a scumbag. But they haven't told us why he's getting recast. But otherwise, it's just like, man, that sucks. You're trying to make a show, and then one of your leads,
yeah,
like,
no, that's
has to duck
it's
out.
not great. It's not great, but
is that a lead character?
yeah, he's one of the big 3.
Yeah, I remember that much at least from the book series that
That's
he's
concerning.
Yep. I mean, maybe they'll find somebody that looks very much like him, because that will work. I mean, if you get a guy that like I could barely tell the difference between the two of them,
That doesn't
really-
bode well for your main character.
I don't think they did. There's some differences. I looked. I saw that this morning.
Oh, right. We know who they are, so you could compare them. That makes sense. And so Donald from The Witcher, is that the minstrel, the
Dandelion?
dandelion?
I don't know.
Somebody Google who Donald.
Maybe that would be. I could see that because
Flan.
he's Matt Couthon as a character is like mischievous and a gambler. A bit of
I see a
a.
picture of a flan.
That's,
I heard Donald Flan, so I googled The Witcher. Donald Flan.
oh man,
I don't know what I'm.
Flan.
You literally got pictures of Flan.
Flan in a
Yeah,
Witcher
I don't
know his
costume.
name.
What am
You
I
just
supposed to
looked
be looking up?
The guy they replaced Matt Cthulhu with. He's from
Okay.
The Witcher.
Imagine your last name is Cthulhu. Everybody coming up to you like pata pata.
Everybody.
Cthulhu.
Once again, Nick
The-
bubbled.
yeah.
The like 100,000 people that are aware of any Cthulhu mythos.
6 nerds in your entire lifetime come up to you and they're
There's
like,
at
dude.
least 18 of us. Okay.
Yeah, but most of them are like, oh, that's a person. No, I can't talk to him.
Yeah. Talk to strangers in public. The hell's
Okay.
wrong with you?
Well, when I try to Google this guy, I get actual Cthulhu references.
Oh my
So I'm just saying, maybe 21 of us. Like,
I will type this in.
You failed at the internet.
okay, so one of your actors in your favorite TV show has to get swapped out
Finn.
for some
It's
reason.
Finn. It's Donal.
What is
Finn.
your best
It's
case
Dandelion.
scenario?
It is Dandelion.
Right? No, wait. Fuck. Now I don't know.
Naughty says Donald Finn.
It's Donal. Who is that?
Who are you?
Who are you?
I will figure it out. This is my job. You guys continue. So you're watching a TV show, you love it, and one of your characters has to get replaced. What is your best case scenario?
Like who they get replaced with? Or what are you asking?
Like, is the character written out? They get replaced and never mentioned? Do they slowly phase them out with old footage?
Like, what do you do?
Like, if you had a perfect scenario in your mind of like, this is the best way this could have gone, what would it be?
Kill him.
I would suppose like phase them out, make them a less important character. Unfortunately, if you're gonna hold to any sort of following of the storyline of the books, you cannot phase him out.
Yeah.
He
You have to
cannot
rewrite
too
too much of it.
The-
Plus, you're not going to stay true to the source material at all.
Yeah, no, it would
Yeah.
be you would just have to break from the source material, and that would be it.
But is that the ideal scenario, that you break from the source material?
No. In this case, I feel like the ideal scenario is to just, I guess, do what they're doing, recast and hope for the best.
I mean, ideally, they just get recast with a better actor.
Or at least as good of, I mean, hopefully better. I mean, I don't know what this guy's acting skills are. Because the cast seems pretty.
He's not Dandelion, by the way.
The cast of the Wheel of Time series seems pretty young, pretty not famous or breakout. I haven't broken out yet. Haven't broken through. Only one person I readily recognized on the show.
I mean, the same could be said about Game of Thrones.
Oh no, I recognize.
Wow.
There were some definitely. I mean, Boromir was in it, but I'm just saying.
is in it.
Yeah,
Peter Dinklage, sure,
yeah.
but they all had careers. But I mean, Game
was
of
like
Thrones
50
elevated
King
every single.
King Robert's in the full Monty, bro.
Sure.
Come on now. I mean, there's plenty of people I recognize.
But I mean, plenty of those people are going to be remembered almost exclusively for their roles in Game of Thrones at this point.
Sure.
It was a huge property, you know.
All right, so another Amazon show, and thinking of recasts, you know who I would really like to see? Like, if I could pick somebody to be recast in Game of Thrones, would be Jaime Lannister, and it would be the dude who plays Homelander. I think he would fucking nail Jaime Lannister.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd do a really good Jaime Lannister, right? But I also really like Jaime Lannister.
That's
in
the
in
thing
show.
about Jaime Lannister is the transition was pulled off by that actor, which is that you love to hate him until you just love him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Homelander could ever. That guy is not going to get.
That guy's
you to
just
ever
really
like
hateable.
I think because I've watched some behind the scenes kind of stuff, and the actor just seems like a really nice guy.
100%.
Really nice guy. And like, he's like, he's like, I'll be like riding on the bus and like someone, or like on the subway, and he's like, and someone will look at me, and then they'll really look at me and they'll be like, you're fucking Homelander. And he's like, no, I just acting, and it's like, he seems so nice. So
He's also Australian.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, which threw me off.
Or New
Lannister
Zealand, perhaps?
should have been played
Maybe.
by Luke Wilson.
Oh,
but
God.
yeah.
No.
I stand by that. Luke Wilson could have made an awesome Jaime
Are you being
Lannister.
serious or not?
I weirdly enough, I'm being serious.
No.
I think he could do it.
What role makes you feel that way? That he's played before.
Because I could see him being somebody that you don't like,
Who?
Yeah.
even though in most of the times you end
So
up
Luke
liking
Wilson.
him.
Have you ever taken Luke Wilson seriously?
Yes.
When? What movie?
Idiocracy. He was the smartest man in the world.
I mean, Darjeeling Limited, Skeleton
Sure.
Twins.
No, yeah, absolutely.
But his character was a severe serious to you. Like I cannot see him having the the nobleman's pompous panache that is serious that Jamie has in the first handful of seasons. It's Luke Wilson. I mean, he's an amazing actor, but like for me at least, I've mentally character typed him into like bizarre gonzo indie film status. Like the idea of him.
That's Owen Wilson.
That's Owen
Well,
Wilson.
I know. I'm just he wanted to speak in on his brother's defense. Fuck you guys.
I think that I would give him a screen test. So
I mean, Nick Cage was almost Superman. I've seen that fucking screening. I
still
believe
want that.
anything after that.
I want to travel to an alternate dimension, and I want to see Tim Burton's Superman with Nicolas Cage.
Oh my god, what a fucking nightmare that would be. It would be. I mean, it might be a
fucking
delightful
flame
fucking
boots.
nightmare, but oh my god.
Well, delightful fucking nightmare describes every Tim Burton film. So
I mean,
you know,
We have to.
Yeah.
You got to give those films some credit. That was the Michael Keaton one, right? Mm-hmm. And had Catwoman in it.
The second
That's
one.
Yeah, the Batmans.
yeah.
Okay. Some of those scenes, those actors really fucking pull off. I recently internet YouTube algorithmed the Catwoman Batman dance scene when they're at the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking amazing
Yeah.
scene. Like if you didn't know that was from a Tim Burton movie, you're like, that was really,
Those movies were
those
great.
Chemistry was amazing
I like the Tim
between
Burton
the
Batman
actors.
movies.
I don't think people will commonly disagree with the statement that the Tim Burton Batmans are
No,
good.
they're beloved.
Not even beloved implies like a cult following. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean any implication there at all.
Okay.
Just that they are good
I
movies.
took that whole error wrong then.
Lando is single face.
I think when you get into the Jim Carrey,
It's not two face yet. Well, that's
George
those are
Clooney
Schumacher.
series. I know. Well, they're not. So I think when you get into those Batmans, we start getting to the territory of where like some people like them, some don't, but it's commonly agreed that they're not great. Right?
When you compare them to the Tim Burton movies, I don't think they're good.
Well, you can compare them to all the Batmans now, right?
Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
They're not as good as Christian Bale's.
Yeah. For sure.
I cannot wait for Patterson's. I think that's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
that's going to change the Bat game.
The Nicolas Cage Superman movie done by Tim Burton just would have been epic, just because Superman's fucking stupid.
True.
I fucking hate Superman.
I agree.
I would love to see whatever weirdness that Tim Burton can bring to that fucking Boy Scout of a story. So
I was against it at first. You changed my mind. Fucking Superman sucks, so give him a different treatment.
yeah. Now I'm really scared that it is like Nicolas Cage is good because he's weird and you would never picture him as Superman.
Right.
But he is a catch-22 that like he might just be god awful trying to be like because he's not a phenomenal actor all the time. Like sometimes he's just really great. Other times he's just an unhinged guy who yells a lot. So you gotta. It's a risk.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Nick Cage movie?
Matchstick Men
Raising Arizona.
Ooh, Matchstick Men is
Raising
really
Arizona.
good.
or
is
Con
really
Air
good.
is my other one.
I
love Con
like
Air.
Con Air.
I love Con Air, but not
Con Air.
because of the fact that Nick Cage is in it.
Sure.
Con Air was just Con Air.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
He kind of makes it epic because he's like the skinny white
yeah,
superhero.
he definitely brings to
yeah,
it. But I think of like, what was the newsman, the one where
The Weatherman?
the Weatherman.
I did
that
not
one,
like Weatherman.
It was bizarre and weird. I kind of liked it for a
I don't
reason
remember
I
that
can't
movie.
put my finger on. He was
Bringing
just,
Out the Dead. He won an Oscar for that one. So
Yeah.
I mean,
What is it? Leaving Las Vegas. I think that's one of his. It's a good one where he plays he's an Elvis impersonator.
he was the one where he's punching ladies in the face. The Wicker Man.
The Bees.
That does not count. That is not on the list of good.
oh, the
Nicolas
bees,
Cage.
the bees are in my eyes.
Yeah, I think that's Wicker Man, isn't it?
It's Wicker Man.
Any
yeah.
time that he's tried to play like an actual dark super hero, I think has failed. So you
Face Off.
Ghost
Remember
Rider.
that? Yeah.
Face Off.
yeah.
Face Off
Face
isn't
Off.
Nicolas Cage. It's John Travolta
Yeah.
And
Nicolas
Nicolas
Cage.
Cage.
Yeah.
Is it really?
I just had to look it up because I couldn't remember.
What's the one that has Ethan Hawke in it?
Oh,
That's from that same time frame.
Off
I'm
Face.
thinking of.
With Denzel.
I
Well, that
thought
was
Training
Training
Day.
Day.
no, I thought it was opposite Travolta. Like an Ethan Hawke Travolta movie.
Oh, Lord of War. Excellent point. That's
Lord of
probably
War, yeah.
my favorite Nick Cage movie, actually, now that it's been brought up again and I remember it exists. That
It's-
one's really good.
So the weird thing about Lord of War is it's one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies. It's not one of my favorite Nicolas Cage performances.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That movie was really good,
Yeah.
but it still would have been good had Nicolas Cage been a different actor.
Or not in it, I guess. Yeah.
Whereas I really feel like his acting from like in Matchstick Men is probably, I think, one of the best times I've seen him act. So.
I have to agree. I think Matchstick Men would probably be my favorite.
Am I making up an Ethan Hawke?
It was Lord of War, as far as I can tell, through a very cursory.
That's not what I'm looking up.
That's not what you're looking
No,
up.
I was trying to figure out what the Ethan Hawke John Travolta movie was that wasn't Face Off.
Ethan Hawke, John Travolta, not
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke, Nicolas Cage. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. In a Valley of Violence,
That is not it. I think I made it.
That-
starring John Travolta and Ethan Hawke.
That does not
in main
sound
roles, 2014.
fun.
I've never seen that.
Gonna take you down to the Valley of Violence.
Travolta in a Western.
That's where the noise floor is.
What is
That's
It's a movie Broken Arrow. Who is in Broken Arrow?
that's Christian Slater.
And,
Okay, Travolta. Broken Arrow
Yeah.
is the movie I was thinking of.
Okay.
That is
Slater.
Christian Slater.
see,
not
kids,
Ethan
when you
Hawke.
get to be old, your memories just kind of all fuse together, and you have to follow this rabbit hole of what was that thing related to the other thing.
I think it's really acceptable to confuse all the pretty young-faced white actors from that era
I'll
with
give
one
you
another.
that.
So Christian
Give you
Slater,
that.
Ethan Hawke, those types.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's more, but I can't remember them because they all just merged together in my head as generic secondary to actors who went on or were already
Yeah.
tier one.
Joshua
and they were made
90s
tier
man.
two.
Yeah.
Joshua 90s man.
The fourth Josh. We talked about how Russ knows exactly 3 Joshes. One of them is variable in quality, but if there was a fourth Josh, the whole thing would just come tumbling down.
Yeah.
Like a house of cards.
Like, and
Like there's a limit to how many Joshes you can know before they start just becoming awful people.
all the Josh is me.
No, he knows more than one Josh.
I know 3
Am I
Joshes.
every Josh?
Not just you.
You're the one of variable quality.
All right, so we got a we got a question here. Let's field it. This is part of
Okay.
being you get to be special right now. So somebody read that question because there's a
All right.
bar right in my mind.
So she's asking to know on behalf of her boyfriend what her our favorite movies are with a comedian in it that are not in a comedic role, such as Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo, which is a really good example.
Yeah, that's
that
a
was-
really
that's a good take.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
Off the top of my head, I want to name every Robin Williams.
Yeah, I know
movie
that's
that is-
I go to
he's
Robin
not-
Williams.
Not a comedian in.
Oh,
Jim Carrey's 23.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine of the
Yeah,
Spotless
there.
Mind
Yeah.
is arguably a better movie in my opinion. I like it way more. But
I mean, 23 is creepier or spook like is.
it was just very.
Does anything by
Unusual
Bill
scene.
Murray count? Like when he not?
Bill Murray's
Or
a comedian
yeah,
for
he's,
sure.
yeah. He
No,
counts.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm like his movies are so ethereal. Like
Yeah, they're. I mean, a comedian
Yeah.
in a non-comedic role.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're talking about what the fuck is that movie?
anything
Well,
he's
okay,
ever
okay.
been in.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm cheating. I'm looking up because my memory's terrible. Good Will Hunting was.
yeah.
I didn't understand it when I first watched it because I was young, but after having rewatched it, I really enjoyed it.
Was just like do they get like I can't? I'm even having trouble thinking of someone other than like Robin Williams or
just
Jim
people known as
Carrey.
being
yeah,
comedians.
Yeah, me
that
too.
are, comedians.
Will
or-
Ferrell did Stranger Than Fiction.
Now, I
Zach
actually-
Galifianakis did a weird indie film where his head exploded, if I remember.
Stranger Than Fiction is actually a really good movie where he has the voice of the author. He's the character. He's the character, and
Yeah. It missed for me. I don't think I was in the right frame of mind when I watched it because it felt so like indie that it was just this kind of weird background influence. But yeah, I'll have to look into that. Is Seth Rogen and Steve Jobs? Do you guys remember that movie? Steve
Seth-
Jobs?
I didn't watch that one.
I didn't watch Steve Jobs.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't watch either of the
I
Steve
don't care for that
Jobs
level of
movies.
showmanship.
I don't think Adam Sandler has really been in any standout roles for me.
Uncut Gems.
I mean, they're good, but they're
Adam Sandler movies.
I mean, I would never name them as my favorite
Sure.
on any list.
Yeah.
By any.
I haven't watched Uncut Gems. I've just heard good things.
I enjoyed it, but I had just gotten my gallbladder taken out and I was on a lot of drugs. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I'm going through a list of actor comedians right now to see if
Little Miss Sunshine I enjoyed. I don't know if it was my best. Yeah, with
Yeah.
Steve Carell.
That was good.
Yeah, Lost in Translation felt so lowbrow and highbrow at the same time. I remember watching it being like, this is
Midbrow.
going to be...
I remember being bored as fuck from that movie.
It was boring, but then you're like, what did they say at the end? What did he whisper to her?
What do you guys think about Michael Cera's character in Juno?
I think he was fine.
I think it's still a comedy.
It's still
it's just
Yeah.
a super lighthearted
Dramedy.
like, coming of age slice of life thing.
He's always playing
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
who is a comedic relief character. So I
Yeah.
don't think you can
Yeah,
count
okay.
that.
Yeah, no, it's all right. That's roots. That's
And also,
stretching.
is he a comedian?
He's a comedic actor.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which are we going to go specifically somebody that like does stand-up comedy, also acts and has been in a non-comedic acting role? Because that's a much narrower list.
That is a narrow list. But
I know.
I want
was
it to
trying
be Eddie
think.
Murphy, but I can't think of anything.
I'm
I just
looking that
like
up right
Eddie
now.
Murphy.
I was like, what? Like black stand-up comedians don't know that have done serious movies. Apparently, he was in Dreamgirls, which was a Broadway musical. I didn't watch that.
Eddie Murphy's best in all of his comedic roles.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's
true.
That's
Beverly
Yeah.
Hills
Yeah.
Cop, come on.
mm-hmm.
Was Richard Pryor in anything serious? I
I
can't imagine
can't-
him being
I don't know.
serious.
Jack Black and King Kong is a good one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's-
I mean, have we narrowed it down to?
You know what? I
think
got
it-
another one for Jack Black.
I think it might be 1 hour photo.
He was in The Jackal, and he gets his arm
Yeah.
blown off holding up a pack of cigarettes.
yeah.
It was definitely
Dude.
not funny.
That's so weird because that scene fucking shook me as a kid. Shook me. And
He been
for some reason that popped into my head like a few days ago.
I
Yeah.
like that movie, but that's also
Yeah,
from
so
the
did I.
era when I was a huge fan of
Bruce Willis?
that guy
Mhm.
whose name.
Bruce Willis?
Yeah, that guy.
I still like.
I'm
Bruce
not allowed to
Willis.
say his name.
It's illegal.
I made a deal.
I vaguely remember watching
With
The
that
Color
guy.
Purple
With
back
Bruce
in the
Willis?
day. No,
That
with
guy,
Whoopi
yeah.
Goldberg.
You've never talked to Bruce Willis.
We did, and I was banned from speaking his name aloud.
You did not.
You don't know that.
I do know that. I can say
You
that with
suspect
certainty.
that.
Well,
With
yippee ki
confidence.
motherfuckers! Are you ready to take a break?
Is it break time?
It's break time.
Good. I actually have to really.
Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx
Squeeze
has
a
made a
lemon.
lot of great movies.
Jamie Foxx is fucking fantastic. How
Yes.
do we not think of
Jamie
that?
Foxx is a fucking national treasure. He's not
Yeah.
a comedian, though, is
He
he?
absolutely
He
is.
is.
He's a-
And
he
that's
is.
the thing. We just haven't watched his shit. We need to sit down and watch some of his
Sure.
stand-up.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. Jamie Foxx in Django Unchained is
I
my
knew there was
favorite
somebody I
comedian.
was missing
So
there.
good.
in a non-comedic role.
Ray Charles.
I've never seen that movie.
What? You should.
Yeah,
That's good.
haven't either.
I
you
don't
didn't-
I don't watch movies about singers or biopics. That's the
Okay.
I don't know.
You didn't watch Joaquin Phoenix's on Johnny Cash? Walk the Line?
Did you watch the...
I watched the Dewey Cox story. That was pretty fun. I got pretty.
I watched
stoned
the
to watch
parody
that.
of that.
Cut the audio.
How do you watch the parody without having seen the original? You're gonna miss like half the jokes.
He
they're
never
making.
won spot weed. Never once paid for drugs.
I'm
So
leaving the room.
That's
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in you now.
bye, Felicia.
We'll be right back, guys. Lead us in.
sorry. I was scratching my face and
so
spacing
excited.
off. So Horizon Zero Dawn, older game, came out 2017, I think. I never actually played it.
Awesome game.
Hold on a second. Okay, it literally took me a second to remember what the game that was. That's the
With the
Mecha Dinosaurs.
with the mecha dinosaurs and all
yeah,
that. So Forbidden West is coming out, and of course they're going west. But it looks really neat. But what I thought was the coolest thing about this is it's made by Guerrilla Games, which famously made Killzone. So they have done a massive and apparently successful genre switch from an FPS to a third-person open-world RPG.
Yeah, they pretty much only did Killzone.
Right? They
before
own
this.
right. So like just that really successful transition, and now it's going to be a flagship game for PS5.
Congrats
Honestly,
to them. Yeah.
PS5 is really PlayStation exclusives are really making it hard to want to buy an Xbox.
Yeah, I had it on my list last week just about like more PlayStation 5 or PlayStation exclusives, and like I put too many to list.
Yeah.
Just getting angrier.
Yep.
But it got me thinking: Are there a lot of other game producers, or perhaps even games that have made like a big genre switch and found, are arguably more success, or at least an equal level of success?
I have no idea off the top of my head.
That's the problem.
I looked into a little bit, and I couldn't find a crazy amount of examples. I was thinking something like, didn't Warcraft used to be a bit more like StarCraft, or am I just pulling shit on my ass here?
yeah, it
And
was a
then
good
it evolves
example.
into
Blizzard
massive, right?
Blizzard had 3 titles they were known for: Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo. Warcraft and StarCraft were basically the same. They're RTSs, right?
Yeah,
Diablo
right.
was one of the first action RPGs. But after that, they released World of Warcraft, and then there was, that was it.
That was it, right?
I was thinking Double Fine is made up of a lot of people from the old LucasArts studios who were known for their point-and-click adventures. And they transitioned, some could arguably, really well over into 3D puzzle platformers like Psychonauts. I don't know if it's a huge genre shift to go from Secret of Monkey Island and all that stuff, heavy metal? No, Full Throttle. I don't know if you guys played those old LucasArts games, but you can definitely see the influence there. What else is there off the top of my head?
There's the company that was behind Halo went and made Destiny. That was a pretty bold choice for them. They really thought out of the box on that one.
Was it called Trampoline? Was that the name of the company? Parasail Cord?
Pogo.
Yeah.
Moon Shoes.
Punji Pit. That's what it was.
Sticky Punji Pit. That's right.
But Forbidden West, being of course a new game, it does have some new features. What any sequel wants and needs, grappling hook, of course. So there's going to be less of that linear climbing feel, apparently, which was restrictive in the first game. There's a lot of complaints about that, but just watching it really makes me want to go back and play it. I really want to get, and it's free on PlayStation now. They keep just like, hey, all these exclusive games, also they're going to be free here.
Can you really call it go back and play it?
Yeah, I guess I guess from my point of view, it is like, I haven't played it yet, so I guess it's going to be a new experience for me. But it is an older game. It's from 2017. It might as well be in a museum at this point, right?
Jesus, 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch the gameplay footage of the new?
I did.
Going
It
West?
looks amazing. And also, robot crocodiles are the most terrifying thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
I think the succinctest way I could put Horizon Zero Dawn is, it's like Assassin's Creed if Assassin's Creed was pretty good and not shit. Right. Like it's very much a similar game to the newer Assassin's Creed, but it doesn't suck. I'm not saying it's the best game in the world. One nice thing they really did, and it's not often this happens, is the storyline pivots really well, and your exploration and discovery of what actually happened to this world, that there's barbarians fighting dinosaur robots, was really well done in my opinion. I really, really enjoyed it, and despite kind of losing interest in the gameplay itself about 2/3 of the way through, I finished it just to figure out what was going on in the storyline. And yeah, what a theme. Robot dinosaurs done in a non-campy way. It was pretty darn good. I really enjoyed that game. So
the good news on that front is it seems like you're going to finally be able to start picking up Xboxes and PlayStation 5s more readily available at actually in-person stores instead of just trying to get lucky online.
Turns out they're actually making them now.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, they just had an article coming out with talking about how some other big box stores, but Best Buy specifically, is supposed to have I think it actually starts like tomorrow is the date when they're saying that they're going to have in-store consoles to sell.
Okay.
That's actually on my list of stuff to bring up. And then, on that same note, they showed a special edition Diablo Xbox that, it looks pretty fucking cool, but also very demonic. Extremely demonic. Like, it's got like a big demon coming out of the front of it. It's got some sort of pentagram
the
stuff
console
on it.
itself.
Yeah, the console itself. And I'm like, man, how better to affirm every waspy Christian mom's fears of video games being the devil and stuff, to have a little demon box. Yeah.
Awesome.
What in the name of Jesus?
if Satan was hanging a little brain out of the front of it,
Well, he doesn't hang a little brain.
a lot of brains.
He erects a massive statement is what he does.
But another thing about Forbidden West is it's coming out on both the PS4 and the PS5.
A lot of the games are doing that.
Is that just so people have the opportunity to play it?
Money.
Is it purely based on greed? Because are there pros other than not having to buy a new system and play the game you want to play? Are there pros other than that?
One, the power behind the PlayStation 4 is still robust.
Yeah.
Like, it's a robust machine.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, like, our game development companies haven't pushed the limits of games where they are clamoring to get a new piece of hardware because this old one is antiquated as it normally be in a life cycle console. Because, you think about how much computers have jumped up in previous console version iterations, say like the Xbox 360, and the consoles were always substantially behind the curve on what the PCs can do. The PlayStation 4 and even the Xbox One were like the first dipping your toe into being comparable to a decent gaming rig.
Yeah.
And now the Xbox Series X, and the PlayStation 5 are very much in the realm of like a mid-level gaming PC. So, but what you also have to deal with, which is the second issue, is that adoption of the brand new two consoles has been substantially lower due to the fact that it's hard for people to get their hands on them.
Yeah.
And so it just makes sense on a take care of your consumer basis, and as well as a take care of our pocketbook basis, to release them on both consoles. I think you might see this more and more often too, just because as gaming consoles get more ubiquitous with PCs themselves, it's substantially easier just to make them like a downgraded version, performance-wise, to play on other consoles or older generations of systems.
Because that's essentially what you're sacking, right? Mm-hmm. Is you're sacking performance quality, how good it's going to look, and load time.
Yeah, load time cell stuff like that is going to be, but that's I think the longest running problem that we've had a lot in the game console PC cross-platform stuff is always the difficulty in coding for the different systems. Mm-hmm. And so frequently, both PlayStation and Xbox have continually had like proprietary operating systems that they're running on the consoles. That is, and for Microsoft, they're literally in the computer operating system space they design in, and even their game consoles were different for the longest time than what their PCs would run. But we're getting closer and closer to these things just being, comparable to one another, that'll just get easier and easier to port games. Hopefully it gets easier. Like, we're seeing it now. We're seeing a lot more cross-platform play in a lot of games. Which is something we've literally been wanting since we had home online console
since
play.
the first time that someone bought a different console. We're like, wait, you don't have an Xbox?
Oh, we can't play together? Why?
That rich kid with the Sega. You're like, what, my Super Nintendo's not good enough for you?
I imagine it had to be tied in with, having online play, but
I'm old.
And with
I don't ever remember linking up our Super Nintendos together to play some quad plock.
I jumped on Overwatch and I was doing some cross-platform play. And one of the guys said, "Oh, we can do ranked now on cross-platform." And I was like, "I don't think that's a thing, because we're on a console, we're going to get murked." Is is cross platform and like in a ranked. I mean, I'm playing Splitgate ranked, and it's cross platform.
The biggest thing that controller players have going for them is aim assist.
Okay,
You don't have that on mouse and keyboard, or if you do, it's janky, and most people don't use it.
Yeah.
So it's a completely like parallel different thing, but it kind of helps make the field a bit more balanced.
Okay, so is there? I have an advantage for aim assist that they don't have.
So yes.
Your disadvantage for using a controller is
Versus-
counteracted by your aim assist.
Some of the best Call of Duty Warzone players in the world are now using controller.
Yeah, they're
And
also
it's
on
for aim
amphetamines.
assist. Well,
And
fair.
17,
Yes, absolutely. But we are seeing, I wouldn't say that the gap is necessarily closing, but there are use cases in which case a controller sometimes lends itself better, even inside competitive play in first-person shooters.
Honestly, ranked is where you want to be playing. If you're going to be playing cross-platform with PCs, then you want to do the get ranked. Go through the placement matches and stuff in your game, so that way, that even if you're playing with technologically advanced PC players, they're going to get ranked above you and out of your play range. Because really, at the end of the day, I play ranked in pretty much any game type that I could possibly play. Because I feel like, one, everyone here is trying to take it as seriously as they can.
Right.
And it's always going to be trying to place people that are within a plus minus of my skill range. So sometimes they'll be like slightly more difficult enemies that are on the upper range of my playability. And then other times they're slightly below. But as long as I am playing my best, it's always going to keep me roughly at a rank to where I deserve to be.
Yeah, a rank in which you're competitive.
Yeah. Which is really unfortunate when you get a lot of games that like have a really bad ranking system in place. And like honestly, I can complain about Apex because I don't feel like they've gotten a good grasp of how their MMR systems and stuff should work. And I also get it's a weird catch-22 that you run into with a lot of game developers is that they're always reluctant, if they ever do, even fully explain in detail how their ranked matchmaking systems work. Because the way the internet works, it means people will find ways to try to game that system as much as they can. So it can be kind of a frustrating back and forth. But all in all, I enjoy my Apex matchmaking. I've been playing for, how many seasons are there now? 11 seasons, almost 2 years.
So that's ranked and cross-platform.
I don't play cross-platform on Apex. No.
Oh, okay.
No. That's just because I don't have anybody that I need to play with on PC.
But do they offer
competitive? I don't know. I don't know because
right now Overwatch does not.
Oh, you guys found out that it doesn't?
Yeah, no,
doesn't
it absolutely doesn't. You can only play like.
Well, here's an example. Rocket League does.
Yeah,
we're doing that because Andrew's on PC.
And there's some. I think you got to be some sort of finger ninja. You have to have been just like maybe have a third thumb in there somehow to be playing keyboard and mouse on Rocket League.
Almost nobody does. Yeah. I don't think that's very common.
It's not a game that lends itself.
No, it doesn't seem like it would.
Keyboard.
It doesn't. But apparently, there's people who do it.
There are probably, but I think even most.
It's
been a long time since I've even gotten into watching any of the competitive high level Rocket play gameplay because most of the time it's depressing about how terrible I am.
Yeah,
it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel bad when you find out what a flip reset is, and you're like, "That's a fucking thing."
Oh, it's even worse
shit?
when you spend like 3 days in the training room practicing flip resets, and you can never quite get it right.
No,
you're just like, I guess I've reached my skill cap.
You're absolutely not going to get it right playing against someone else. That's just never going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Like I told you, dude, my biggest defender, my worst defender, is a fucking open net.
It's that open net.
An open net, unguarded, just open. There it is, Josh. Knock it in.
Goalpost close
Boink.
in on him. Teeth come down.
Performance anxiety.
But I think most of the pros in a Rocket League are on controller.
Okay. I mean that makes sense.
Now, I recently was playing Apex on the PC over playing on that Gen 1 potato Xbox. And it was remarkable how much prettier, more crisp and clear everything looked.
Yeah.
I could see, like, I was watching a gunfight in the distance that I'm pretty sure on the Xbox, the game wouldn't even have rendered. I couldn't even see that there was people fighting over there. And I'm also pretty sure because it's a new account, it's like putting me in the fucking bot lobbies.
Right.
which is
Helpful.
delightful.
That would be one of the technological advantages you're talking about. The computer is actually able to render a fight that you otherwise would not even be able to see if you were playing a game, like playing on the potato.
Yeah, but I mean that's a disadvantage I have on anybody
Okay.
that's also on Xbox, but just maybe they have a newer Xbox One, the Xbox S, or the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
One of the guys that I play with, Northwest Gearhead, he plays on a Sexbox now, and he told me straight up that like it's a noticeable difference. You know, and
One thing you have to consider that I don't know if you can do on the consoles is you can get advantage via reverse graphics. For example, there's some shooters I know where players routinely will turn off the foliage.
Oh yeah.
He
that
actually-
other players cannot hide in the grass
Yeah.
because you go in the graphics settings, so you
Holy
just turn the
shit.
grass off so it doesn't render.
it's literally he runs into that problem. Gearhead, the same guy, when he plays Rust on the Xbox.
I think that was one of the first games I remember hearing about it.
When I play DayZ in a large server, like a day one server, I turn my graphics settings down to the minimum except for view distance.
Is that cheating? Like, it feels like cheating.
Not
but
if everybody else is doing it.
Okay. Is everybody doing that? Is that
Oh
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Anyone that's
Watch your
trying to
big
play
streamers and
seriously,
stuff, and they're all doing it.
I feel like we were talking about earlier, bringing knowledge about things. I don't bring a lot of knowledge, but I bring a lot of passion.
Well, I mean,
and a lot of questions.
We could discuss the aspect of whether or not that's cheating or not, because I would say that's a form of cheating, because you're exploiting a game mechanic to give yourself an advantage over other players.
Yeah, having an unfair advantage that was not in the design of the game, I think, is how you could define cheating in one way.
But so here's the other thing. So because we'll say we're talking about PC specifically here, where you can change your graphic settings. There are some people that are playing on computers that they get reasonable frames per second, that kind of thing, that cannot run at max settings.
Right.
So should I play at a disadvantage just because I can run at max settings?
No, I think the solution would have to be something along the lines of sorting lobbies by graphical settings. It would have to be that's the only way you could do it. I mean, it's not a fair way, and what you're going to have is really tiny.
Don't let them turn foliage off. Like, that seems like a much easier solution to me.
Well, then what if they couldn't run the game then, because it can't render?
Then you make the foliage look like shit, but it's still there, right? Because the people who have low quality computers who are getting that weird advantage through a fluke of them not having a good computer, they're not cheating on purpose, right? So, like, rendering foliage even as just a flat texture in the same vein that like a normal foliage texture would help hide a player, I'm sure there'd be an easier solution than trying to complete a whole ranking system based off that kind of weird exploit.
Now let's build on this a little bit, dive in a little deeper here. So let's assume that
Let's get into the weeds.
Yes, let's get into the weeds.
Let's get into the foliage.
Snake in the grass.
So
can't
if
get
the
into
computer's poor enough that it's just not able to render the foliage.
I like foliage. You're
Granting
technically
you
cheating.
said advantage. Is any advantage that is gained by that overruled by your computer being that shitty? Like,
I don't think that it's your fault that you're cheating, but it's still technically.
But like, okay, so let's say my computer is crappy enough that it cannot render the grass or the foliage. Therefore, I have said advantage.
Okay.
Your computer is better. It's able to render that advantage, or not like able to render the grass. Is your computer doing that much better that my advantage no longer matters because everything's better, like the frame rate, everything like
so
that?
your question you'd be asking would be, do I make up for that disadvantage with
Yes.
other technological advantages?
Yes.
I think that sometimes that could be true. It'd be definitely depend on a game to where if something like hiding in foliage and being able to pick those people out is extremely pertinent to the gameplay, which something like a shooter is
So
definitely.
in the instance that I bring up, no. Having a better performing PC doesn't give me an advantage in this case. Like in a firefight, sure, I suppose so. I have, higher FPS. My reaction time can be faster. But and I also have a monitor that gives me an awesome refresh rate. Like I have kind of peak performance in this game, right? but they're the only one with the advantage in this scenario, in which we're both trying to snipe each other behind foliage.
Seeing a motherfucker first is still seeing a motherfucker first.
Precisely.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, like, that's some weeds, guys.
Personally, I have Googled worst Skyrim graphics. Here's an image I pulled up, Josh.
Yeah.
If you're willing to make your game look like this to have a very minor advantage in a competitive shooter, you do you, right? Like, to me, I wouldn't go to these lengths, but some people will. And if that's what allows them to loot the countryside,
That looks like the man who shows up in my dreams and tells me he knows he's in my dreams, and then I wake up.
yeah,
You've given him form.
I'm sorry.
I would definitely want. I mean, in an ideal situation, I think you'd have your system have a optimization to where it knows what your computer can handle and doesn't let you artificially lower it. That would cause some sort of advantage, in which case you're just minimizing the amount of people that do have the advantage because they're on weaker hardware, right? In which case it's probably a pretty small, insignificant amount of people. You just suck it up and deal with it. But sometimes someone's going to see you hiding in a bush.
Yeah.
But you can't do that either, because anytime if you made a game where the computer ran like an optimization scanner and then you couldn't adjust your settings down,
Yeah.
I mean, people lose their goddamn mind over that. So I don't know what you could really do to solve that issue.
Okay.
It's just at the end of the day, just like some people suck. Either they suck because their machines suck and they can't afford it, or they suck because they're actively trying to game a system.
Yeah, I definitely try to game the system in DayZ. In that, I just know that everybody else is running the same settings, so I drop mine all the way the fuck down when I'm
I've
playing
played
competitively.
DayZ. I don't know how you would be able to tell a difference from high settings and low settings. The game looks like
The brown is browner.
Well, you played it on the Xbox.
I have played it on both,
Oh.
and the game is still butt. It is a butt game.
It's a fucking nice butt.
Sometimes
I
butts
like
are fun
butts.
to play with.
Fucking A.
They still look like butts.
True.
Speaking of tech and gaming, another super interesting news. Player Unknown, as his moniker goes. I don't remember his actual name. It's like
Everybody knows him as Player Unknown anyways.
Joshua Johnson. He is leaving his publisher, Krafton, to make a new company backed by Krafton to develop something interesting. The first stage, let me pull up my notes here, is called Prologue. It's essentially going to be a tech demo that will be single player, pay what you want. But the goal is for them to be testing a new engine they're developing with the hopes of having a 64 square kilometer map. So for all of you people out there who get hard over the idea of large maps, that is compared to the 8 square kilometer of the original Player Unknown Battlegrounds PUBG's original map.
Can you give me another game's reference for map size?
You want to pull up like
Yeah,
San
we're
Andreas?
American. We don't know. You said kilometers. We don't know what the fuck that means. Can you put that to us
Something
in washing machines?
roughly 50 times the size of Apex map. I'm just going to throw that number out there because it's 64 times the size of PUBG's map. So massive, right?
That's pretty ridiculous.
And
228,000 washing machines.
So, was it in square kilometers or square miles?
square kilometers. So is that San Andreas you looked up?
Yes.
Yeah, I was
But I
going
looked
to
it
say
up in
GTA is a
modern.
good
Okay.
good
Yeah.
comparison.
Put that
Witcher.
over.
Looked it up in miles. It is 33 square kilometers.
Okay, so something double this. Well, not even double. It's, I mean,
Nearly
Almost
double.
double.
it's more than that. It'd
No,
be
it's not.
four
You said
of
64, right?
Yeah. 33 doubled to 66.
them. I guess, yeah. I'm
It
doing math
just-
wrong.
It just
very
doubles
big.
on the y-axis
Yeah.
and the x-axis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that mean it's 4 times as much? 'Cause you're
Well,
multiplying two lengths? I don't know. I haven't been to school in a long time. But the whole idea is the guy, Player Unknown, he is kind of, from what I gathered, over making games, and he wants to make
Games.
things in which people can make games. So this project Prologue is going to be a test for Project Artemis, which is going to be their attempt at making buzzword, yada, yada, AI neural network program that will develop entire worlds. So imagine you have a world that you can make.
This one.
Yeah, kill just this one. You have a world where the entire planet to the scale of like Earth is there. And if you want to, you can run off to the west and encounter areas of the game that no one has ever been to before. and it's going to be an engine/game that people can make their own mods in or their own games. Of course, buzzwords: 10,000 players at a time, 100,000 players at a time.
Sounds like some No Man's Sky shit.
It does, and that's what kind of got me on that topic. Is like, no one can predict when the next big tech jump is going to be. I followed Will Wright and Spore for almost 11 years, and it went from this grand, future tech post-scarcity game to
second biggest disappointment of my life.
Yep.
Because I'm a white person in first world country problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
White people.
The first was Fable. So.
The first was Fable.
Oh my God, yeah.
You're
You're gonna love
accurate.
this
Yeah.
dog. Peter Molyneux, bless your soul. Who knows, like, how this is going to pan out? And there's a lot of flops that then lead to somebody else doing it really well. No Man's Sky went from being a flaming pile of trash to a pretty darn decent rootin' tootin' game, right?
I've played it now that's been upgraded and stuff, and it's quite enjoyable, actually.
Yeah, and they keep upgrading it, right? Yep. They decided, okay, we promised all this shit, release this game, it was bad, let's just work on it. So then they spent however long it was just releasing update until they eventually got to the phase where it's at. Hopefully, no studio ever has to do that again. That sounds horrible, but they did it.
Well, I mean, shouldn't that be like, isn't that fucking admirable as fuck?
Yeah,
that
it
they
is.
Followed through.
That must have been really hard on
Like,
their psyches
honestly,
to be like, we had this huge idea and then we completely shit the bed.
Just
and now
hearing that makes me really want to play the game, because I'm 34 years old and no one's ever followed through on anything they've ever told me they are my entire life. So the simple fact that someone's like, "Oh, sorry, here we're gonna keep trying,"
fix it. Yeah,
like that. I don't know. That should
we
mean
told
something.
Josh in middle school we'd find his dad for him, and we still haven't.
Yeah.
we try every once
stopped
in a while. We're
looking,
like,
too.
"Is this your dad?"
I would also argue that I follow through on everything that I tell you I'm going to do.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Rubber band rules.
Yeah.
I was obviously being hyperbolic, but yeah.
Well, if you want to risk being hypothermic or hyperthermic, give No Man's Sky a shot. It's either
a good segue.
It's gonna either bounce off you or you're really gonna enjoy it. But yeah, we'll see. Who knows what the next real good game engine's gonna be? Unity's having its
it's gonna be Unity too.
right now.
I definitely don't want anybody to stop trying to do what they
I
do.
like
no,
Unity
of course.
Junior
You gotta keep
better
moving
than
forward.
Unity 2.
But
I do think that I'm always a little amused when it sounds like a game company is like, I want to make a game where everybody else makes the game.
Yeah.
But
It'll change everything.
well, no, just like the people will
The
come along and
concept.
make
Yeah.
the content themselves, because it hasn't worked too often.
if he's making an engine for other people to use to make games, that's one thing.
Then totally.
And
Yeah.
it sounds like not only is he trying to make this, his company, Player Unknown Development, or what is it, Productions. And not only are they trying to make the engine, but they're trying to make something with the engine as a starting point for someone to mess around with. Very little info from what I saw, but
Early.
I like. Yeah, he said 5 to 10 years from now is when they plan on having the full Artemis out. Prologue, I think, was supposed to maybe drop next year. We'll see.
Definitely
Seems
something
like
to keep an
realistic
eye on.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the same vein of some sort of sandboxy content creation, Splitgate, which we've talked about, is the weird Halo clone with portals.
Yep.
Has announced that they're going to have a forge from a la Halo, where
Okay.
people can make content to play in there.
Good.
Oh,
And it's gonna be out before Forge will be available for Halo
For
Infinite's
Halo Infinite.
multiplayer.
Yeah, of course.
yeah. Shocker.
But that is something I think that Forge only added to the longevity and the enjoyment for a lot of people to Halo. So it's smart to put that into a game.
Oh, yeah.
Even though, once again, it calls back to people making their own content.
That's how we got
Griff
Griffball and Rocket
Yeah.
Race. And 100%.
Every game that's lasted a long time has done so because of easy modding.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
There are a handful that haven't. Like, people have been
Exceptions,
playing Counter-Strike, since the Pleistocene era. But, I think World of Warcraft 3, it spawned MOBAs because of a player-made map. Fortnite has their own creative mode. There's no reason not to, really, in my opinion.
Fuck, Super Mario has their own fucking map creator.
Yeah, Mario Paint.
Super Mario Maker.
Yes, I was thinking Super Mario Maker.
So,
old.
have you guys ever played Super Mario's Time Machine?
Yes.
No.
It was so weird.
I honestly never. I played the game a lot. Or growing up, I remember like putting it in. Like, I want to play this, and I thought it was a game where I surfed. I thought it was. I was like, why do they call this Super Mario's Time Machine? I'm just surfing around on this ocean because I didn't understand anything about how to play that game.
It was not. It did not teach you well.
No,
that you were like doing a like where's Carmen Sandiego style kind of point and click.
I've
puzzle
since
game.
found
Yeah, okay.
out. Like
Yeah.
when I got older, eventually I was like, oh, this is actually how you're supposed to play this game. But
Right.
for the longest time, just
Yeah.
a shitty Mario surfing game.
No, I had it, and I remember playing, and I'd never get past like the second level because I was like however young I was, and you just completely bounce off it because they're trying to make this weird educational game. that,
read
like,
these blocks of text and then
like,
remember
I just
specific
want to
things from
step
them.
on Goombas, people.
Yeah, I came here to kick a Goomba in the nards, jump on a turtle, and get a mushroom.
You know, I say that, but then I had like Encyclopedia Britannica for my old Hewlett Packard, and I fucking loved.
Yeah,
reading through
dude,
that
for
shit.
real though. Dude, dude, Grossology, man.
Oh my!
That fucking game, dude. So that was just another edutainment game, but God, what a good one. Dude, being
Hydrogen
able
peroxide. I
Oh.
wonder how it fits. You remember that?
Yeah, oh,
my
yeah,
God.
absolutely. Fucking
I'll
A,
have to
dude.
look
That
that
brought me
stuff
back.
up and
But
watch it.
dude, the fact that you could print out your own like certificates.
Yeah, you do the
in-
levels, so they'd give you a fucking image you'd print out on your dot matrix printer, right?
Yep.
Back in the day.
Looked like a
days.
diploma from graduating
man.
Grossology.
You learn how scabs work and
Yeah.
boogers. And
I don't make
dandruff.
scabs well.
Has anyone ever, you know those classic
You
internet,
would fail.
those internet memes of like kids from the 90s will remember this and they'll like show a thing.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
anyone ever shown the like cube snake that you make out of dot matrix printer edging?
Yeah,
Like the little paper
Oh,
chain?
you fuck
Yeah.
with the
I don't
rip
know.
off thing.
Because that seems like that'd be. I don't think I've ever seen it, and that seems like it should
that's been a
qualify.
thing.
Little
or at the
specific.
very least, that style of printer.
Yeah, the dot
Yeah,
matrix printer.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Anyways, that was. I did have an interesting topic that's twofold. If we want to get into that,
please.
so
We've got we're running a little short on time.
Talk
we got like
faster.
12 minutes. 12
oh,
minutes.
that's okay. So there's a game coming out called Century: Age of Ashes. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
No.
So it is a
Really vague.
dragon shooter. You play
Okay.
a dragon. Essentially, you got a little dude on your back. I don't know how much he comes into play.
Like Panzer Dragoon.
Wait, are
Yes,
you're
but
the
it's-
dragon?
You're the dragon.
Okay, cool.
And it's a multiplayer competitive shooter. You fly around and fight in arenas and stuff as a dragon, right?
Okay.
So yeah, no, I mean, I like Josh's reaction. That sounds pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
But I'm watching gameplay of it, and I mean, if you like flight sims and you like shooters, I feel like this is kind of like a cool. It's essentially a flight simulator, right? You're just competitive flight simmer, but you're on dragons.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a dragon. You're
Right,
flying
and your dragons,
dragon.
well, and they
That's
have
dope.
classes, which is cool. They have the dragons have special abilities.
Windguard.
Wasn't this made by the people that made War Thunder?
I have no idea who made this
I
game.
really hope not. It is free to play.
So my question for this type of game is like if it's trying to break into the realm of any sort of like long lasting competitive shooter, because you have to have a following for these games to work, because otherwise your servers are dead, nobody's playing, matchmaking takes too long. So
Yeah.
there's got to be a grab that keeps people around, and it's very unusual that you're ever going to get any sort of longevity from a game without stuff like weapons and armors and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, like what can you do with the dragon? So I'm curious, like, do you think a game like this can survive any length of time when it's so far out of the realm of like a Call of Duty, a Battlefield, an Apex?
So,
Fortnite?
I mean, I feel like I'm just going to jump in real quick. I feel like there's a bit of stuff you can do with the dragon. You can have rider characters that are switch outable, customizable, all that good stuff. The dragon itself is going to be able to have different armors. You're going to be able to get different dragons. I mean, there's just
So those are cosmetics, which are a good thing. I know you could do a lot with the cosmetics if you
like
want to.
Sure.
Have you played?
What does Apex offer other than cosmetics for
Have
shit
you
that
played
buy?
World of
Different abilities.
Tanks, War Thunder, anything like that, Russ?
Yeah.
I have a little bit of World of Tanks.
Okay. So how the general framework of Gaijin games is the one that makes those two at the least, and there are a lot of clones, is that you have tiers of vehicles, and you start out at tier 1. and you very quickly use your freemium currency or the free currency that you earn playing matches to unlock like the tier 2 tanks. And how this quote unquote skill-based matchmaking works is that your first bracket of players are the people playing in like the first 3 tiers of tanks. It depends on the game. But then once you get up to tier 4, you've played for like a week or two and you've unlocked that tier 4. Now you're playing against tier 4, 5, and 6 tanks, right?
Okay.
And eventually after a handful of months, you can get up to tier 8, tier 9, tier 10 tanks. But every tank, you can shoot as much as you want, but you can spend freemium currency to buy armor-piercing rounds for your gun or better tank commanders.
This
or
sounds
better.
terrible.
It's not even cosmetic. It's you're buying better.
Yeah, it's
in
pay to
games
win.
Pay to win, but it only really applies. It applies much more minimally than in other games because in most of these games, if you get shot well once, you're done, right? So whether you get hit with a armor-piercing sable round or not, you're going to die until you know how to play the game. So in those first couple of brackets, it really doesn't feel like it's pay to win because you're slowly making progression and you're realizing, okay, it's much more important to have my tank angled correctly than it is to worry about if they're using a level 9 commander. But then, of course, when you get up into the higher brackets and you're playing against the quote-unquote real boys in the ranked versions, they're all pay to win. They're spending the money to make sure they have all the good ammo. I haven't played War Thunder. I assume it's similar. So with something like this, like immediately you have different classes of dragons. Like there was a sci-fi version of War Thunder where you played in spaceships, and I loved it. It was a free-to-play game for like a month. And then you're like, okay, I've kind of hit this gap of I'm not paying money, so I'm not doing very well. But yeah, like Josh was kind of saying, you can easily just think of abilities dragons have or have different tiers of dragons. A lot of the War Thunder, they'll have like tier 4 tanks, and they have the one you can earn for free, and then they have a side grade one that you pay money for. It's just like 5% better in some cases, just enough that it entices people to buy it. And I'm trying to look up the numbers here. It's really hard to tell, but I know that War Thunder and World of Tanks, they do make quite a bit of money.
I'm sure they do. So is it looking like the Age of Ashes is the same style?
I don't know yet. I got on the track.
A freemium mobile game.
I'll have to look that up, and we can talk about it next podcast.
It's easy enough in the vein of Apex to say that like you can keep things content fresh by having new classes that have different abilities and stuff. And that my initial impression seems like that's what they're going to do. I definitely just kind of brought that up as it's unusual to see a game trying to break into that market of like the shooter realm, something that's going to require active servers and stuff for matchmaking that isn't your standard shooter. So I hope they do well. I hope the game is good. I hope it's not some free-to-play garbage because that's a nightmare scenario.
It's these days, whenever anything's free-to-play, it's immediately cause for concern. So we will see.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean,
Apex is free-to-play. I mean, yeah, so like you can't say they're all bad.
Right. I mean, Fortnite, I don't play it, but it's obviously good enough that it's one of the most popular games. You can get a lot of enjoyment without having to partake, as long as the fucking shit you buy is only cosmetic. Like, don't pay to win. That's literally where you'll break every fucking game, is if somehow you can pay for an advantage against other players. But now, so there's actually the second point about the story of them coming out. They delayed their launch because of Battlefield 2042 coming out.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that on Reddit because they would have gotten completely stomped.
It's rare that this ever happens, and it's so smart that I don't understand why it doesn't happen more often. Because we talk about oftentimes amongst ourselves the demise of Titanfall, and Titanfall's demise very likely, I don't know how much proof there is and stuff like that, but it launched alongside one of those AAA shooter titles, and it's gonna like you have one
Battlefield
shooter.
1, wasn't it?
No, it's earlier than that.
I imagine it's like Black Ops 2.
I think it was Black Ops 2.
Yeah. So, and they're directly competing markets, right? Because they're both first-person competitive first-person shooters. I think objectively, Titanfall was way better a game. It was unique in a lot of concepts, and yet ended up suffering greatly because everyone went to suck off the fucking teat of AAA.
EA.
AAA teats.
Suck my teats.
Now it's pretty common. So Blizzard does something that really fucks over a lot of games. Is they put out a major content patch or they announce their expansion for when a competitor or another big AAA title will launch. They do that all the time. So WildStar, for instance.
I remember that. I remember that.
They had no release date. Yeah, they had no release date for I think it was Ice Crown Citadel or some. It was a huge content patch. They had no release date for it until WildStar announced their release date. New World. They put out their latest content patch on what was supposed to be New World's first or second open beta. No, yeah, the first open beta. So it got less attention.
And New World is the Amazon. The Amazon one.
Yeah. MMO. Yep.
So before we cut off here, the people who make this new Dragon game, Age of Ashes, they've made one other game, and I'm looking at reviews on Amazon, and they range from no to too much words, spelled T-O. A lot of 1-star reviews, but no.
Can that be a review option on everything I do going forward?
No.
How did you like this restaurant?
No.
Just
Too much words.
too much words.
Big menu, too much words.
All right.
Hard pass.
I think it's about to wrap it up, gents.
Yeah.
The hardest.
But I wish more games would push back their cycles to try to avoid that, that huge.
Fingers crossed.
Well, especially if
Christmas
you're more
rush.
of an independent, if you're more of an indie title, and like you're gonna really depend on some fucking momentum, right?
Well, you think about it too, it's like you got to pitch stuff a lot of times to your shareholders, whatever. So when you have it, because you're always have to answer to the people that own your fucking company.
Because it's never you.
But you would just present them that argument, right? You'd be like, look, I know you want this game to come out as soon as possible, and you want it available for the holiday season. But if we release on this date, we're gonna get drowned.
We're gonna get fucking crushed.
Like, let's just pick a different time. And we've discussed before about how little there are that games release at different points of the year. Like almost all of them land in that like 3 months at the end of the year. And people should make more of an effort to space that shit out.
Yeah.
Give us games to play throughout the year.
Through the whole year.
Christmas money.
How about summers?
Well,
Be
like,
nice.
I feel like that's the thing is like, I don't know, it's that old marketing idea, right? Movies, like exciting movies come out in summer because that's when kids are out of school. But it's like, fuck, the kids grew up and we have nothing else. Just give it to us periodically through the year and keep us happy.
I feel like they made those rules.
Yeah.
Like they just created them. They're like nobody's showing us numbers because they've always just like, well, if we release all of our monies,
Games come out at Christmas, bitch.
Yeah, our kids' animated movies come out in June and they do great. So let's just keep launching them in June, and then from then on out, we'll just say that June's the best month for all these kids' movies. But that's literally only when we've ever released them.
You've heard it here, Amazon. It's COVID time. Release games on Wednesdays.
No.
Every Wednesday.
Games come out at Christmas, bitch.
As Jesus would have wanted.
Good night, everybody.